What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh. Welcome back to another Regulation H video. We've got Dom back for this one.
Thanks for having me again.
Of course, of course. First one was really fun. I think we had a solid list of grass types, but today we're doing the top 5 water types in Regulation H. And I there's a good handful of water types that are actually pretty good. What would you say is the first one that you would put on this list?
Pelipper.
Yep. Pelipper is back. I've been enjoying Pelipper, and a couple teams that I've been messing around with. I've been really liking Pelipper.
It's great. It hits so hard.
As far as the item goes, are you a clear amulet guy?
No, Mystic Water.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think you can get away with Mystic Water simply because of the fact of how Pelipper operates, and you gotta swap it out just to get it into its like attack mode. You can just kind of ignore Incineroar for that reason alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Terra Water, are you?
Yeah, I'm a Terra Water guy.
Okay. Yeah, I have seen a couple Terra Grass pop up here and there. But I like Terra Water personally. As far as the moveset goes, I've seen a lot of Flip Turn. Do you like Flip Turn?
Not really, just because like for me it takes up the haze spot.
Yes.
And I kinda like the haze on it. Just to have like the matchup into Dondozo and all the setup Pokemon that are coming back. You're faster than a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
And so like pressing haze after they set up before they can utilize it, it's huge.
Yeah, I agree. I really like haze on it, especially on like a lot of the balanced teams. Haze, it just fits that extra move slot very well, because like on my balance team that I've been playing, I don't have like Tailwind or Trick Room options. Like, it's just not on my team, so having Pelipper be that option to deal with Dozo has been super helpful. Now, as far as close combat goes, do you like close combat at all in this Pokemon?
I have not tried it, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm thinking rather not, if you're not running like Choice Band.
Mm-hmm.
Just because Wave Crash with Terra Water and Mystic Water will hit harder 90% of the time.
Yeah.
I think close combat is just like a niche hit that allows you to hit a Chalodon a little more like
consistently.
I'm missing consistently, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I definitely like it in the Archaludon matchup. I do think there is a case to be made for it if you are running it on like an Amoonguss. Like if you have a Dondozo answer already, like you have Clear Smog Amoonguss or something, there's a case to be made for close combat over Haze or something, or if you're running Murkrow with Haze. If you have that Pokemon that can take care of Dozo, I think having the close combat coverage is really nice. Especially, we talked about it in the grass video, there's just not a lot of good fighting types in this format. So having that coverage is really nice. So I think there's a case to be made for it, but it really depends on the team archetype that you're working with for close combat.
Yeah, 100%.
For the second slot on this list, I'm gonna go with... Oh, hold on, let me pull up water. I'm gonna lock in Basculegion.
Basculegion is strong. I can second this.
I really like the Basculegion in this format. Honestly, you can go either way, Swift Swim or Adaptability. I mean,
even Mold Breaker is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I like that too. With Basculegion, I personally lean more towards Adaptability. Mainly because then I'm unaffected if they change the weather. My speed is the same regardless of the position that I'm in on the battlefield with weather. I really like the 2-time stab as well. I think that's really nice, especially for last respects. I think it's really solid for this Pokemon, and this is kind of what I've been messing around with as far as Basculegion is concerned. Clear Amulet with Adaptability gives you some options into dealing with Incineroar. Again, if they change the weather, you don't have to worry about that. I like this particular combo. But yeah, I think Basculegion is like really good in this format. It's like Pelipper, You get like similar damage to what Palafin can do without the necessity of swapping out at the start.
Yeah. And you're immune to fake out.
Immune to fake out.
If you don't terror.
Again, I see a lot of flip turn on this thing. I don't like flip turn on it personally. But I like, this is like the set that I normally like on not Palafin, Basculegion here. Just Wave Crash, Aqua Jet, Last Respects, and then Protect.
Yeah, that's probably what I would be running to if I played it.
Yeah, I think it fits just really nicely. Like if you were like really tired of Palafin, if you just didn't vibe with the swapping, if you didn't like that part of Palafin's playstyle, I think that just throwing Basculegion in that slot is a very, very comparable pick. Similarly to how back in the day you could run like a Azumarill over Palafin. Like Azumarill did the same thing with huge power that Palafin did, but you didn't have to swap it. It was like Palafin light. So if you weren't super comfortable with the like the Palafin playstyle of having to rotate a lot, you could just run Azumarill and get similar damage output without that necessity to swap. So I think Basculegion kind of fills that role very nicely.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking for the third Pokemon on the water type list?
Third one is quite hard for me, to be honest. I mean, we have a good solid like list of water Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like 3 right now in my head. Like Empoleon, I can see getting a bit of usage in the future.
Oh, okay, that's an interesting one that I hadn't thought of. Empoleon.
Prim is also pretty strong in my opinion. It's like one of 2 good fairy types.
I like Prim a lot.
Yeah.
I think Prim's a really solid one. Definitely because of, like you said, there's like not really, there's like Sylveon as far as fairy types are concerned. Not a ton of fairy types in the format that are like super prevalent, especially with the loss of Fluttermane. Having that coverage is really nice. Because you're water fairy, it's a good typing. You don't take super effective damage from the steel typing, which Archaludon's really big, so that's kind of nice. I think Goldango's very big, so again, another Pokemon that you just take neutral damage from. I really like Prim for that reason. I'm seeing a lot of Terra Grass on it. I think that's probably the best Terra Grass is good. Because you can calc to outspeed Incineroar and then just Hyper Voice it. I think what I'm seeing the most is like Hyper Voice, Moonblast, Calm Mind on this thing with like Protect and Leftovers, or Throat Spray, one of those 2 items. Like I think this is the most common thing I'm seeing with Prim.
Yeah, that's also what I've mainly seen, like not only in Reg H, but like in Reg G and Reg F before as well. It's like it's just when it gets like 1 or 2 boosts up on the special side, it's so hard to stop and to get rid of as well. So like something where you would think like Goldango sits rather nice in front of it after 2 boosts. Hyper Voice with Liquid Voice just does so much damage, and it's like not taking any damage. I mean, that special defense stat is huge.
Yeah, I think Prim is going to see a lot more use in this format. I thought it was pretty good in what was it, Reg D when it was introduced. I thought it was pretty decent then. But yeah, I think in this format, without like Urshifu fighting for that water type slot, this is definitely a solid option. Especially like with how low its speed stat is, you can definitely fit it into like Trick Room operations as well.
Yeah, but it's also good enough. Like it's like kind of like Ursaluna in the speed tier, right? Where you can throw it onto Trick Room and it works well, but you can also just like give it a little bit of speed and put it on a Tailwind team.
Yeah.
And it's just like outspeeding stuff as well.
Yeah, I think it's got that nice middling speed tier. As far as the 4th one goes, let me pull up more water types here. I have one in my head, and I'm sure it'll upset some folks out there, but I think Dondozo deserves to be on this list. I
was kind of overlooking it the whole time, but yeah, I think we have to put it on.
And I mean, we'll just throw it on here. Like, it doesn't have to take a spot on the list, but obviously Tatsugiri goes right next to it. But like Dozo is back. I think Dozo's really good. with just access to Oblivious, you're immune to Intimidate. You can go that route, or you can go with Unaware. That's a really good one, especially into... I found Unaware Dondozo is really, really nice into the Archaludon matchup, because you can get your commander boost on it, and you can run like Clear Amulet for this particular setup with Earthquake. And you can just kind of like sit there and keep Earthquaking into Archaludon, and just like it doesn't matter how many stamina boosts it gets because you're unaware. I think that's really, really nice for this particular Pokemon. I've been rocking Terra Grass on the Dozo I've been messing around with, but I definitely could see Terra Steel coming back. If Amoonguss picks up with Clear Smog, those are the two Terra types I think you're going to see the most for Dozo. But yeah, I think Dondozo definitely has a good spot on the list. We can talk about Tatsugiri just briefly, just because it kind of is forced to bring with Dozo in a lot of situations. I think Choice Scarf is the best Tatsu set.
Yeah.
In this particular format. But yeah, I think Choice Scarf's probably the best for this, just because you can just do like Icy Wind.
Or Draco Meteor, just something that gives you like an immediate and fast like utility or damage.
Yep.
Just because like it's not really good at tanking hits, and so like you just want to outspeed, get something out, and just let it drop then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I like a lot. What I ran back in, I think it was Regulation B, I made a team. What you could do is run Choice Scarf Tatsugiri next to a Choice Specs Goldango. Drop Icy Wind turn 1 and just immediately go for Make It Rain, and you can just nuke Pokemon off the rip like that. That's really solid. Because of it has an okay speed stat. You could also do Covert Cloak. I've seen a lot of Covert Cloak Tatsus. That's another option for like if you wanted to lead it with something else to get the Icy Wind down, to just put out a ton of damage turn 1. Covert Cloak, you avoid the fake out, especially with like Goldango, because they can't fake that out. They're gonna throw it into Tatsu. You're able to just go for massive damage turn 1 with Goldango and Tatsu. That was a strategy I really liked back in, I think it was Reg B.
I've never seen that actually, but this sounds fun, especially with the Covert Cloak, like getting double fake out immunity.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just gives you that opportunity to let Goldango go in and do as much damage as possible, and then you get the special attack drop. So next turn they got to think, am I gonna go for another Make It Rain, or am I gonna swap into Dozo this turn? So it gives a whole other mind game to the Dozo Tatsu situation, and it gives more utility for Tatsugiri outside of just being a Dozo setup. Now we are on the final Pokemon for this list, and I think there's a pretty obvious one that we've overlooked thus far. What I'm talking about off the top of your head?
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you mean.
What you got?
Pelipper?
Yes, Pelipper.
Yeah.
I think this guy is so good. It's still so good. Definitely with I've been messing with Rocky Helmet on it. It's been pretty nice with Rocky Helmet. Doing a more bulky setup for Pelipper. The only issue with that is Pelipper's speed sucks. So you do have to be a little cautious with the Rocky Helmet setup, because Archaludon is so popular. You can lose your Pelipper pretty early on if you're not careful. So I do think Focus Sash is just going to end up being the more popular item for this guy in Regulation H. But Pelipper just being that solid Tailwind option, controlling the weather, giving Palafin that ability to do massive damage, similarly to how we did with Urshifu. I think Pelipper is just so good.
Yeah, and Weather Ball and Hurricane, just let it rip through some threats for Palafin as well, like Hurricane into Rillaboom, and it's like 60 to 70-ish.
The nice thing is with Pelipper too is I feel like a lot of people just disrespect the amount of damage it can do and they ignore it. Especially with the Focus Sash, which is so nice because you can just sit there and, like you said, tear through stuff like Incineroar, like Rillaboom. You can just rip through those Pokemon while you're protecting your side slot and just let Pelipper eat. And I feel like a lot of people just don't put enough respect on Pelipper for the amount of damage it can do.
Yeah, I've also seen a lot of Terra Stella Pelipper lately.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that has popped up just because it makes those weather balls and those initial weather balls and hurricanes hurt so much. I'm a big Terra Grass Pelipper guy. I just for the Amoonguss matchup and the Rillaboom matchup, it's just really nice to be able to ignore the Spore and just do super effective damage into those two slots. So that's me. I like a little bit more defensive Pelipper personally, but I have seen the Terra Stellar that has been really, really popular.
Yeah, the Terra Stellar, I think, KOs a rather physical defensive Amoonguss, just like with timid nature. This should just drop it. So yeah, that's what I've been seeing a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a strong one, and again, I think a lot of people just overlook how much damage it'll actually do in the rain, because I mean, the weather ball boost is massive, and the hurricane hitting 100% of the time, it's just a very scary Pokemon. Even if they like rotate, like I've had a lot of games where I've played and they rotate in like a Torkoal or something to change the weather, and my hurricane lands on the Torkoal slot, it still just rips through a Torkoal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really solid option. But we have our 5. We have our 5 plus Tatsugiri. What do you think of this list?
I like it. It's a good one. I think there are some more like niche picks.
Yeah,
in the water category, like Empoleon with like just instant being good, but something like Raging Bolt not existing in the format, and in general, like electric types not being that good. I can see Empoleon like picking up a bit.
Yeah, I think Empoleon. I played my Lodic today, and my Lodic was actually pretty good. Same reason, you know, competitive boost. Just really nice in that regard with what, like you said, Incineroar being so popular. I think Gyarados is one that we didn't talk about that is actually going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, support Gyarados is coming back for sure. I can see it.
Support Gyarados is really good, and it does a lot of damage. Even if you build it more bulky, its attack stats so high that it can rip through an Incineroar pretty easily.
Yeah, like a waterfall hitting, just that hurts.
Yeah, it definitely hurts. I think there's a case to be made for Azumarill. I think Azumarill is pretty good. With huge power, just being able to put out a lot of damage is really solid. I definitely see that one coming back, and I could see it on Perish Song teams as well, being one of the few Pokemon that actually have access to Perish Song. So I could see Azumarill fitting on a couple different niche teams. But yeah, overall, I think our list is pretty. What is going to pop up the most at these first initial regionals? I think we got it right on the head.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
That is going to be it for this one. Thank you again, Dom, for hopping on and chatting.
Happy to be here every time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like doing these videos where we have people from the Discord come over and hang out. If you guys enjoyed the video, like and sub. We're going to be doing, what are we on? Well, this is 2, so 16 more of these videos. We're going to cover every type in the format. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So if you guys want to see more, make sure you sub. If you want to share Regulation H teams that can be featured in future videos, be sure to check out the Discord. But until next time, peace.